What started off as a goofy and colorful adventure devolved into a mess of ideas and monotonous gameplay that sucked out my desire to play. This was my experience with Biomutant, a game I was hoping to love, but lots of misguided design choices left me feeling lukewarm. There is potential in this weird RPG, and I think some people might really get into this game, but for the busy gamer, there are better ways to spend your time than playing this half-baked RPG. Welcome back to No Time Gamer, the channel helping your gaming sessions be time well spent. Biomutant is another RPG snitching ideas from Breath of the Wild. This is not a bad thing in itself, as we previously reviewed Immortals Fenyx Rising, another BOTW clone, and thought that game was terrific. Let's start with what might be a small detail, but the biggest turnoff. The dialogue. Games in the RPG genre usually structure dialogue in one of two ways. Fully voiced captions, like Elder Scrolls, or unspoken text, like BOTW. Believe it or not, Biomutant manages to combine these two styles into the worst version possible. The characters in Biomutant don't speak a real language. Instead, they spew gibberish at you, and then the narrator describes what the creature said. It makes every bit of dialogue twice as long as it needs to be, and the story is not nearly compelling enough for that. Okay, you may be thinking that's no big deal, and I did get used to it after a while, but this is not the end of the issues. The visuals in the game are inconsistent. The overworld appears lush and beautiful, but falls apart upon closer inspection, mainly because the game is trying to walk this line between cartoonish style and realistic aesthetics. It wasn't something I noticed at first. It's subtle. But the more time I spent scurrying around the map, the more I disliked this combination of style and realism. While I do generally like the game world, it lacks the awe-inspiring locales, which makes the setting feel dull after a while. Even the places that are supposed to be memorable fail to impress upon arrival. And then there are the character models. What the f***? These are some weird ass looking creatures. I know the game is called Biomutant, but these freaky looking furballs lack any form of charm to make them even the so ugly they're cute kind of adorable. And the way cutscenes and dialogue are presented doesn't help either. Both are deficient of any form of cinematic flair. Cutscenes look ripped straight from 90s RPGs, not in a good way mind you, and the camera angles used during dialogue place characters in the bottom half of the screen, making it feel like an unfinished game. Things don't improve much with combat, but this is at least the most serviceable part of the game. Biomutant wanted to be a gun-fu combat game, and it mostly succeeds in this area. One button delivers melee attacks, while another lets the bullets fly. There are also special abilities that use your character's quickly recharging Kai energy. Besides being quite basic, there is no heft to either melee or ranged attacks. It all feels very loose and floaty. Action combat needs to be weighty for it to land home and give the player a sense of satisfaction to keep them hooked. And the difficulty is pretty low. If I stayed on the move and watched my Kai energy, most encounters were a matter of attrition, not challenge. This made Biomutant's combat average at best, causing me to lose interest during longer fights. Now, if you love RPGs, don't worry, Biomutant has all the classic elements you'd expect. Stats to boost, collectibles, side missions galore, and tons of useless items to find. There's also a crafting system that sounds more exciting than it is. Loads of random crap you find around the world can be slapped together to make new gear and weapons, or modify existing equipment. But, like just about every other part of this game, it's functional at best. And this is the main issue with the game. It's surrounded by an obscene amount of jankiness for a game priced at $50 to $60. It really feels like the developers went into a room, smoked some grass, and dropped out a game that had every stoned off their ass idea shoved in. One great example is how your character urinates on landmark signs to unlock a new town on the map for fast travel. I get it, they're mutant animals, but this is a strange choice. This also exhibits the tonal issues of the game. The narrator takes your adventure very seriously and is always speaking with gravitas about your journey. And then you piss on a sign. I can cut it a little slack for being meant for older systems, and I think some people may get an ironic sense of joy out of this title. There is fun to be had. The world is very large and full of objectives to complete. The combat is competent, and the story, well, it's there, but the whole package just feels off. I know I've been hard on Biomutant, but I really don't hate this game. I just can't ignore its many issues. If you get Biomutant on discount, or maybe it comes to PS Now or Game Pass, you can spend some time with it and have fun. So for busy gamers, Biomutant is time somewhat well spent.